Hello, everyone. For next 30 minutes, I will need one thing from you, from the audience. And what I will need is your imagination. Because today I would like to step back a little bit and talk about this year in which we live today, about year 2019. And I need a clicker, technical team. So, I apologize. You see, we still cannot, even with AI, we cannot deal without the devices. So I want somebody from the audience give me one number. Do you know how many people live on the planet Earth today? Anyone? 7 billion. It's almost 8, in fact. And at the same time, if you think about the different side of that, there are 9 billion devices being shipped to the market every year. Not all of those devices, of course, are intelligent and connected, but looking at how the users work with devices, what they expect, and how the manufacturers change their business models to become the service providers instead of just manufacturers, more and more of those devices will be connected, will have some form of intelligence. They will understand and comprehend the environment. They will help make decisions, speak to us, etc. So now imagine this world in which we are today, or where we will be tomorrow. Well, there is more devices, intelligent devices, than people on the planet. Now, what it means, and let me first start with the innovation which is happening. Innovation is accelerating big time, and when we look at the artificial intelligence area, many things are happening, while the core technology is there from like 2000, or sorry, from the previous century, from 1960. So actually, 16 years ago, when I was doing my master's work in the university, I was building my first neural network, and it was pretty much the same neural network which you would use today, but it took me like 8 months to build it, and today I can do it in 3 minutes. And the innovation which is happening, there is a lot of things like reinforced learning, self-driving cars finally arriving on the streets, guns generating adversarial networks which allow us to build the realistic videos, sometimes fake videos, automated machine learning, which I love. This is the tools which allow you to give system a bunch of data and use artificial intelligence to build artificial intelligence, a very interesting concept as well. AI in genomics and healthcare. If somebody would ask me what is the most important, most exciting thing which is happening with AI, it's the healthcare and how it will change. Even in Microsoft, if you just look at Microsoft research and what we did in the last 2 years, you will see that we introduced the algorithms which can understand speech, which can translate, which can understand and recognize objects, and which can comprehend text with the same or better accuracy than humans. So technology is there. Now we're standing here in 2019, and again, I'm asking you, how can we imagine what's happening now, what will happen in the years to come? And let me talk a little bit about that. So first, when I was in the university building my neural network, my biggest problem was how to get access to that server, where on the server I have the memory, the CPU, which was powerful enough. How do I get this internet connection, which is powerful enough? And today, when people exit the universities and go to the companies, they don't have this problem. Actually, what we call the world's computers, like Microsoft Azure, they solve this problem. From the convenience of your home, of your notebook, of your tablet, you can provision as many compute resources as you need in any place of the world. So this problem does not exist. But what then drives innovation? And looking forward, there are actually different building blocks coming to the market, which are mixed reality, blockchain, artificial intelligence, of course, and quantum computing. So I will talk today not about all of them. They do impact innovation, but let's really focus on what artificial intelligence brings on the market, and specifically in our region today. So when I think about AI, when I think about compute in general, how computing changed the industries, it's like a water which came to some dry land. When I think about AI, it's like magnetic field because it penetrates everywhere. It penetrates any industry. It penetrates cross borders. You have the case in Czech Republic. Tomorrow we deploy the same in US. Day after tomorrow we deploy the same in Poland. And it transforms societies. Societies start to pay more attention about changing the education systems, about changing the governmental to citizen services, etc., etc. Innovation of the nations is driven by AI in some cases. And it enables breakthroughs. And when I talk about breakthroughs, I'd like to talk about those two guys. Anyone in the audience know who they are? So this is two students from Canada, which won the last year's Imagine Cup competition. This is a competition to build some technology systems, AI systems, and they built this arm, which was 3D printed and had small camera and was connected to Azure, to the cloud. So what it did, they taught this thing to recognize things. So you show it how to grab the glass, and the next time the arm will grab the glass. So for the people who need this prosthetic arm, which usually costs like $1,000 to $2,000, this thing cost $100, built by two students. Now this is how the creative minds today, with this huge power in their hands, can change the world, can push the limits of what's possible. Now, this whole power, of course, comes with the challenges. And what are those challenges is, how can we make sure that AI is ethical, that AI is fair, that it's secure, reliable, that it's accountable? Because if you're getting the diagnosis from the doctor supported by AI, you want to make sure why this diagnosis happened, right? And there is a lot of discussion in the industry right now about the facial recognition. And I see a picture here. I don't know if you can see from the back seats, but it's two guys. Both look pretty suspicious, but the black one says it's high risk. The white one says no risk. And the same with facial recognition. Microsoft has published our facial recognition principles, and we stand for them. There are already projects which we declined, big projects, very profitable for us, which we declined because we don't think the technology would be used for good there with facial recognition. So that's a core thing. We need to decide as a society, as people, as us technology companies, experts, what AI should really do, not just what it can do. Now another challenge comes with the jobs. And that's an interesting topic for me because, for example, my job did not exist when I was graduating the university. Many of my colleagues have the jobs which did not exist back then. And I've seen the recent research which says that 65% of students today who will graduate this years will have jobs which do not exist today. So nobody knows what's coming, what jobs will be there, but it will change definitely. And this is the slide from World Economic Forum report, which says that AI in next years will impact something like 75 million jobs worldwide. It will create twice as many jobs. So again, there is a huge change which needs to be done by the companies, by the governments, to help people learn and stay relevant in this new world and learn for those new jobs which will come in the future. And we don't know yet which jobs that will be, but we need to build this journey of constant learning for those people. Anyone in the audience knows the picture? Good. So it was pretty popular on Facebook, and I decided to put it here because that's called Kiss of Life. And what it shows to me is the work of people in 1967 who had to check the power lines, and one of those workers, he touched the wire and he was hit by the current, and his colleague reached out to him and made breath mouth to mouth before the emergency came, and he saved his life. But what happens today is technology can help save those lives. This is the solution which we have in the US. We have a similar solution now discussed with some of the customers in Europe, in Central and Eastern Europe, by the way. And what it does is the drone actually flies over the power line, makes picture, and in real time, if there is a problem with the power line, if there is some issue in that, it sends the signals back to the control point. So a lot of simplification in terms of risky and dangerous work. Now, when you think about AI, for those who is new to the topic, it's really about how machines can comprehend the environment, make decisions, and act to reach some goals. But it's really based on a couple of things. It's the vision, speech, it's the knowledge, language understanding, decision-making, those kinds of cognitive services, what we call. And when you think about the application of those AI services or cognitive services, I would like to talk about 5 patterns which I see on the market right now. So with our customers, almost everyone now is used to the chatbots and natural conversation. My kids, for example, they would never type a question in their phone. They would speak to it and ask and get the answer, or they will talk to the smart speaker. So this is the new reality, and we believe that as much as 85, maybe even more, conversations in the nearest future will happen through the chatbots. So very popular scenario, speech, voice, text conversation with the chatbots, which are intelligent. The next one is the object detection. And this is cross-industry scenario, images classification, object detection for safety, for medicine, for all kinds of application. AI-assisted professionals, I have it as a separate category, and I think that's the most broad application today. Because again, and if you look at the healthcare, for example, you don't want AI to tell you you are just sick or you're healthy. You want doctor finally to make a decision, and that's one of the examples. But in many industries, humans make the final decision, but they use AI to help remove this big burden of the work which is hard to make for humans, which is complex, which takes a lot of time. And we'll show some examples today. Knowledge mining. Again, I will show probably a separate slide on that. And autonomous systems. When I ask autonomous systems, 99% of the audience will say it's about the cars. It's not. So cars are part of that, but there is a huge, huge market being created right now in robotic process automation with the software. When there are software robots which can perform the work with on the PCs, let's say, which humans would usually do. So if they would work with the digital resources, make decisions, understand images, understand speech, etc. Now let's turn back. I promised you a slide on knowledge mining. This is a real picture of one of my friends, which he posted a couple of months ago. He has a hobby. When he goes to the archives and looks for genealogic trees, like who was his grandfather, what happened to him, in which war he participated, and that's his weekend. So he goes to our archive, he sits in this thing, and just works with it. And why I'm showing this is because this is also how company data sometimes looks. And we have a real case in Hungary right now when they deployed the knowledge mining solution with cognitive capabilities, which allows them to digitize all the documents, pictures, texts, and not just digitize, but make it searchable. So that you can type, show me, I don't know, Stalin, and it will show you exactly documents, images, where this person was, what he was doing, what year, what context was there. So very, very powerful solutions, saving a lot of time to people to create those digitized archives and to browse them and to get insight from their data. I also think that it's important to show the cases which are happening today on our market, and I've talked to a couple of them. One of them is Shell, and Shell has 44,000 fueling stations. And fueling station, of course, we get used to it, but it's a dangerous place. So there might be robberies in the night, there might be all the inflammations when somebody starts to smoke, or somebody fuels it incorrectly and the thing falls. And what they do today, what they did before, there was a person which was looking at like 25 or 30 screens, trying to identify that somebody starts to smoke or something wrong is happening. So what they deployed today is the solution which analyzes images in real time, and it's not like human. It never sleeps. It looks at all the screens at the same time, and it actually it's trained to understand that there is a safety problem. Somebody starts to smoke again, somebody is coming with the baseball bat or something else, it immediately sends the alert. Very, very powerful solution, applicable across the industries. We have a lot of safety scenarios now on the construction sites, on the factories, etc. Very interesting ones. Another one is Waberer. This is a big logistics company in Hungary. And they actually came to us discussing, they had a lot of transformational projects already, but they said, what else can we do to improve our margin? And it was hard because they had a lot automated already. But what we did, we discussed several scenarios, and one of them was to predict the demand. So they made demand prediction solution, which would say, next week, on this direction, this truck will be not loaded enough. So then they can go to customers and say, hey, why don't you move your delivery from this date to this date? And they could increase the load of the trucks by 7%, which is 7% margin for them. And by the way, demand forecasting, very, very popular solution, and do use it. Like yesterday, I had a story from one of friends here in Lithuania that his wife actually came yesterday to the shop, and she wanted to buy a fan because it was very hot out there. And it was in the morning, I believe, and still she came and they said, there's no fans. We had like 5, but all gone. And we had like 500 people coming already. And that's like, if you knew the weather, why don't you order more fans, right? So it's simplified, but that's how it really helps us live better life and have better business. Now, Uklon, this is the Uber company in Ukraine. They have Uber as well, and they have a very competitive taxi market, hugely competitive. And Uklon built this solution which is very similar to Uber, but they struggled because if the price is too low, then the drivers don't want to drive. If the price is too high, then the customers would cancel the order and drive with some other taxi. So they built this dynamic pricing solution which predicts the demand and builds the price which they think should be right. They could increase successful rides by 18%. Again, like 18% pure margin growth, a very, very interesting outcome for them. But now to my passion, to the healthcare. Some of the cases we have in healthcare worldwide, in genomics, etc., are very powerful. This one is recent, exactly from our region, from Czech Republic, actually. General Hospital in Prague, what they use is they use the solution, which is Microsoft Project Inner Eye, as we call it, which analyzes the MRT, CT, X-ray scans. And what it does, it looks at the picture, and it gives you the area where it thinks there might be some big problem. So before the solution, the doctor had to spend, as they say, from 30 minutes to 2 hours just analyzing the image and making this, bounding box for the tumor or for something. So now it's done within a couple of minutes. Doctor is still in the process because he can then say, no, I think AI, you are wrong. We still think there is a problem. So he can spend a couple of more minutes finalizing it and then make final decision. But that's very, very powerful solution so that the doctor can now process not 5 people during the day, but maybe tens of people during the day with the same question. Another one is Technoworks, and this is a solution from Romania, which analyzes, and I think this is how the future of the healthcare looks. So you just breathe in the thing which is called electronic nose or whatever, some sensor, and it analyzes the molecules, and it says you have this asthma, or you have this lung problem, or you have something else. In 1-2 minutes, you get your diagnosis without any analysis. Very, very powerful ones. And when we also think about solutions like that, I would like to talk about the projects and programs which we as Microsoft and some other companies on the market provide to the market, which is one of them is called AI for Good. We also have some sub-programs of that which really help startups or non-governmental organizations to go and create solutions with support of the companies like Microsoft, like other players probably. And what you can do is you can apply for some grants, and there are some winners of those grants which I wanted to show here. One of them is the startup in Romania. It's called Ascendia, and what they did, they built an application for the children and people actually with speech disorders. Because when people have speech disorders, they would go to the doctor, they would go to some treatment center, and they will try to build the best solution for him, for them, but they need to go there physically. With the application, what they can do is AI helps them understand what kind of speech problem is there. They can understand how it progresses, so the application starts to provide personalized treatment, personalized tasks for kids, listen how they speak to the application, how they improve, giving more tasks, and helping really advance and cure those children. That's the reason why I come to work every day is the projects like that. And another one is Rain for Climate. This is the startup from Slovakia. It's not really normal, would say startup. It's based on 30 years research. But now they build a startup which analyzes the water cycles. Because, for example, if you build roads, if you build cities, there is no anymore this small water cycle where water evaporates from the soil, then it goes and falls nearby. We build this asphalt, those roads, everything, and the cycles have been interrupted. So what they do is they analyze the images from drones or from satellite, and they train AI to recommend what should you do to restore this water cycle in this specific area, in this region of the country, around this city, around this town. Very, very powerful, scientifically, let's say, proven approach, but put with AI into much broader scope, into much broader deployment possibilities. And again, I encourage you to search for AI for good. You can go and look and see what are the winners. There are super inspiring stories out there and super possibilities if you really about changing the environment, about helping to fight some diseases or something else where this can be useful. But we're just, again, I'm speaking this from the Microsoft, as a Microsoft person today, we're just a technology company, right? There are experts in the company, of course, but as a technology company, what can we do? We can just provide tools and services. We can provide education for the market. For example, we have launched a lot of technical educations on Microsoft Learn platform. And we have recently, a couple of months ago, launched AI Business School. So if you're in a business, not in technology area, you can go online, or we have events in the region as well, on premises. You can go learn what is AI, what is the application in your industry, and how to work with that really in your company. But then, when we provide those tools, services, and educations, it's up to you. So we are really to support you, to work with you, with the companies in which you work, in which you have your experts, to build some real, new, innovative things. Because as I said, this huge power, which we haven't in the people's hands today, and by the way, when I think about the future, I think it will be democratized even more. This huge power in the hands of these creative minds, again, companies, startups, students, that's what really drives the innovation further. With this, my presentation is coming to an end. I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, DMYTRO, for your presentation. Very interesting, and seriously, you are all over the place as Microsoft. It doesn't matter which kind of sector, you're basically there. Perhaps a small question to you regarding making the link to this event. Microsoft is already doing a lot, but do you still need the help from the innovators that are sitting here in the audience?
Yeah, and that, again, that's the core message from me. We have a lot of things which we can help you with the tools and the cloud services, but we also have a lot of events, learning events, where we help you to work with you, with your projects, and help you drive that innovation in that company, because we ourselves are not just giving you the complete box which you just plug in. We're really here to support you and work with the countries, with the organizations here.
Thank you very much. And I think you also pointed out very clearly that technology in itself doesn't mean anything. It's really about the application. And only if you have the application, you have something unique in your hands.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, I've been actually on some events recently, and some of them were for students, for example. And I'm always getting so much energy. So it's here on stage today, I'm talking. But when you interact and see the projects which people come with, I would never imagine them. So you probably in the audience, somebody have an idea about how AI may or may not work for your project, for your really transformative, innovative project. Come to us. We'll try to help you build that.
Okay, great. So you'll still be around here today?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if we can have one question from the audience. If so, can you please just raise your hand? If that's not the case, then I think everything is clear. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a big hand to DMYTRO. Good luck.
Thank you.